Hey everyone, my name is Ronak, back with another video. This is 30th video in the Getting Started with the Machine Learning playlist, and in this video you are going to learn the decision tree. So decision tree is one of the most widely used algorithms when it comes to machine learning. So decision tree is very easy to understand. The reason is it only gives you the answer with, let's say, a particular decision and the outcome. You don't have a lot of intricate details in it. Okay, there are many things that we will cover in some consecutive tutorials, but in this I want to give you a glimpse of what really the decision trees are. So if we consider, this is the way the decision tree looks. This is the source that I have got the image from. So a decision node is a node that has some of the decision with it. I'll also give you an example later on which will make the things easier, but this is the way it is. Alright, so one decision has another decision, and finally when you reach the end of the outcome, you reach to the leaf node. Alright, so the main node that you have that is on the top of everyone is known as parent or a root node. Alright, and this is a parent node that is being a child of the root node. Alright, because since it is giving you a decision, so this decision has, let's say, two outcomes from which two more trees are formed. Alright, so one tree, so this is actually known as a subtree. This entire thing is known as a tree. Decision node is further giving you an outcome which is given to another decision tree as an outcome in order to evaluate an outcome. Alright, so you can either get another two outcomes. So this tree actually ends over here, so you have leaf nodes. Okay, so these leaves basically are where the tree ends. Alright, then there won't be any more expansion in the trees. Alright, so the leaves is the end of it. So this is the depth of the tree if we start from the top. And trees has been quite a common topic when it also comes to even data structures. So same we can consider over here, not much difficult to understand. Alright, you have an outcome based decision, and with respect to that the tree is going to expand. Alright, an easy way to understand this is the most common example I've been giving in all of my workshops and everything. Alright, this is very common, this is very easy to understand. So the decision, the way decisions are, okay, so we want to make a machine learning model that says whether a person is unfit or fit. Alright, based on some of the particular decisions that are there. So right from the beginning, is person fit? So this is the thing that I want to predict with my decision tree, and my machine learning model is going to say whether the person is fit or unfit. So if age is less than 30, considerably you are going to be fit. Alright, so it says yes or no. There are two decisions. If yes, then it actually attaches to one more decision, which is eats a lot of pizzas. If the person is less than 30, eats a lot of pizzas, the person is considered unfit, otherwise he is fit. Okay, so he or she is not eating a lot of pizzas, we can say the person is fit. Alright, like not eating, then the person is fit. If the person eats a lot of pizzas, we can say the person is unfit. Alright, similarly, if age is, let's say, greater than 30, alright, but does the person exercise in the morning? If yes, he or she is considered fit. If no, he or she is considered unfit. So this is the way the decision tree works. Alright, one decision actually breaks down into, let's say, some more other decisions, and later on you can get the outcome. Alright, so all of these trees are connected to each other in the parent and child relationship, and later on you get an outcome. Now let us directly start with the coding. There is not much more to explain. There are a lot of things that are going to come in the near future, but not at the moment. Alright, so let us start. So first of all, I'll start with a data set. Okay, so we have a lot of data sets, but let us consider some simple data set, just like iris, okay, which has, let's say, 4 features. Alright, so it is going to consider, if the sepal width is there, then it is going to check the outcome. Then the petal width is there, it is going to check the outcome, and similarly it is going to do that. Alright, so from sklearn.datasets, I'll say load iris. Okay, this is one of the most common data sets. Here I'll say data is equal to iris. It is a load iris, and we have it. And now I can say data, and I'll have all the data. So data basically contains all my data, the values of the sepal length, sepal width, petal and petal width. Okay, this is the flower data set. I'll embed an image so that you will come to know. Okay, so I have added this image. Okay, this is the source that I have got from. Okay, so there are 3 types of flowers: Setosa, Versicolor, Virginica, where we check the petal length, petal width, sepal length, sepal width, and we derive an outcome of which species of the flower it is. All right, so this is a data set of like 150 values. So these are sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. Then we have the targets, which are 0. So 0 is setosa, then 1 is versicolor, and 2 is virginica. All right, so this is the name of setosa, versicolor, virginica. Like I said, 0, 1 and 2. And later on, this is just the description that you can get and everything. All right, so this is it, and these are the features. Like I said, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and this is the data set. All right, so let us now start coding. So the way I do it, so the first thing is, first I'll import pandas. Import pandas spd. Later on, you will have to say x is equal to, so I am now going to use the data set, so I'll make x data and y data. So I'll say x pd dot data frame, and then you can say data dot data. All right, because my data holds all the values. And columns, I can say columns, so columns I can specify. All right, so I can say data dot feature names. All right, I have my x, then I'll say y is equal to pd dot series, and let's say, so I have to specify my data. So this data is going to hold data dot targets. All right, data dot target, yeah. And later on, name is equal to, let's say, target. Okay, that is the name of the class that I want to give. And now I can check x dot shape. I have it, so 150 and 4. And I can also check y dot shape. I can also print the first 5 values of it. Let us consider 2 values, and I have it. This is the way it looks: sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and these are the values. And the outcomes are also going to be something similar. All right, so it says 0, so it indicates that these 2 values are setosa. So the way the tree is going to work, it is going to go, let's say, in sepal length, check with respect to what is the outcome, then sepal, so yes, no. All right, yes, no, yes. So there will be actually 3 outcomes. All right, to be precise. So the tree is going to look quite complicated as it seems, since here I have only covered, let's say, the binary problem in order to explain you the concept. All right, so now the way I do it, so I'll say, okay, so I'll have to split the data. So I'll say from sklearn dot model underscore selection import train test split. Here I'll say x train, x test, y train, y test, and then I can say train test split, which is going to take my x, y, and test size I can mention. So let us say 10%. So 15 values for testing. All right, so that makes us 135 values for training, 15 for testing, gives us total of 150 values. And random state is very important in this one, since it is completely sequential. Okay, so there are all 50 values of 0, then 50 values of 1, and then 50 values of 2. So setosa 50 values, 50 values of versicolor, 50 values of virginica. We don't want that. Okay, we want to shuffle everything. So the way I do it, so let us say 50. All right, and we have it. So I have my data set with me. All right, and now the great thing about decision tree is you don't require feature scaling for that. All right, okay, if you have some missing values, you will have to perform imputation, no doubt, but you don't require feature scaling like normalization or standardization that we have learned earlier. All right, so this is the great thing, because since it is all about the decisiveness, it is going to check whether a particular condition is satisfying or not, and on the basis of that, we are just going to evaluate the things. Okay, we don't require a lot of things to consider. So now the next thing is, I'll say my model. So from sklearn dot tree, all right, tree, I want to import decision tree classifier. Okay, decision tree classifier, and here I'll say just model is equal to decision tree classifier. Okay, I'm not specifying any hyperparameters at the moment, and you will come to know what are hyperparameters. Then I can say model dot fit, and I can say x train comma y train, and we have it. Okay, so these all the things. Okay, so criterion, max features, max leaf nodes, mean impurity, decrease, and everything. These all of the things are basically known as hyperparameters. Please understand this. All right, so these are the hyperparameters. We are actually going to cover all of this in some upcoming tutorials. Okay, in consecutive tutorials, I would say, because these are very important to consider. Even with the KNN, the n neighbors, okay, so the k value that you actually gave, and let's say the metric which was Minkowski or Euclidean or Manhattan, those are all the hyperparameters. So when you tweak them in some particular, let's say, fashion, you can get the best accuracy out of your data. So that is the goal. All right. And the way these hyperparameters play important role, we are actually even going to learn how to tweak them in some future tutorials, but not at the moment. Anyway, coming back to the topic, I fit the model. Now I can say ypred is equal to model dot predict, which is going to take x test, and I have it. Okay, now I'll say from sklearn dot matrix import accuracy score, and I can check the accuracy of my model. So I'll say y test and ypred. So these are the two values. I get 93% as my testing accuracy. Now I'll check the accuracy of my model itself. So I'll say model.score, I'll feed it xtrain, ytrain. Okay, so there might be some of the overfitting. The reason is because we are not considering the hyperparameters at the moment. Alright, so this is it, and so this is the basic thing, and you can also visualize this. Okay, so from sklearn dot tree import, so you actually want to visualize this. So there is a particular section in it, you can just say plot tree, and now the way you do it, so you can say plot tree and you can say model, and this actually gives you a tree. Okay, so this image is very, I would say, small, but this is the way it has went. All right, so it has proceeded with the entire thing. So it is going to check everything, and at the end you are going to get the outcome, okay, which is 0, 1 or 2. So this is the way it does it. And the criterion by default it has used is Gini. So these are all the hyperparameters which you will come to know in some future tutorials. So I don't think there is much more to learn. Okay, so one more thing you can do is check the matrix of it. So you can say sklearn.matrix, and you can import confusion matrix, and you can say confusion matrix, which is going to take two parameters, which is ytest and ypred. Alright, so this is my confusion matrix. Not bad, I would say. Okay, this is pretty much good, but this is the basic of, I would say, the decision tree classifier. Okay, this is how the way the thing works. Okay, very easy concept to understand, not much to scratch your head with. So the source code for this tutorial, that is this notebook, will be available to you on the GitHub repository. So link will be in the description box below. And if you like my content, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss out on all of the new videos that I'll be posting in the near future. Alright, so this is it for this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.